Welcome into day 2 of the BVarsity Coaches Super Show. Almost Super Coaches Show, whatever. It all works. I'm Zach Ewing. That's Trevor Horn over there. This is the TBC Media Studios, and we went 4 hours yesterday. That was the first day of school. Today's day 2. We got 8 more coaches, 2 more hours to go, and then we will be ready for the season with scrimmages tomorrow night, including the one that we are going to be broadcasting, Centennial and Ridgeview. Is that out at Ridgeview this year?
It is.
Out at Ridgeview this year, and so we'll get a look at the Wolfpack. We talked to Dennis Manning, and yesterday we've got Chad Brown today. But to begin the day, another Southwest Yosemite League coach, and that is Rich Cornford of the Frontier Titans. Can we call you a longtime Frontier coach now? It's been long enough, I think.
I guess
right,
you can. I've now been at Frontier as the head coach longer than I was at West.
That is amazing. That is one of those "Are you serious?" kind of questions you ask yourself, I think. But a good team this year for Frontier, and as I look up a few things, a different team as well. And I know Trevor was out there for practice, and the buzzword around you guys this year is speed and quickness. And instead of kind of the brute strength you had a few years ago in winning the SWYL title, this is a different sort of team, isn't it?
Yeah, we do have more speed than we've ever had out there, and that's exciting. Got a couple guys that can really run that went to state last year in track. So that's a good start, but we're still solid up front. So that's a pretty good combination to have. And I think the best quarterback in town in Greg Youngblood.
And I'm going to tell you right now, best interview that I did all summer long, going to, 9 or 10 practices before I left, Lucas Bushnell.
He's a
and
great kid.
That guy, wow. I mean, one of your assistant coaches like, man, get that guy on a mic more often. He was a great interview, and you know what? I know he's a big body, and he's another one of those guys that was a big stalwart for you last year. And he's kind of a leader for you, right?
Yeah, he's a captain,
yeah.
6'3", 286, and really the heart and soul of our team.
You mentioned
he's got
Youngblood.
mullet game strong.
I have to, and we can get to Lucas more, but I have to catch something you said there. Greg Youngblood, the best quarterback in Kern County. What is it about him? And last year, you look at his numbers: 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Wasn't asked to do a ton. This year, that might change a little bit. Is that?
Yeah, it's definitely going to change some. I think last year, due to some people transferring out and some decided not to play, we were pretty thin at the receiver position.
Yeah.
And so that made it difficult there. But Greg did a good job protecting the ball.
And also ran for 300 yards, yeah.
Yeah, and he ran for 300 yards, but we didn't feel real comfortable with the backup spot there. And this year we feel like we've got a more solid backup, so he will run the ball more.
Okay.
And I think we've got better receivers, so he'll throw the ball more too.
One of those being your son, Marcus, who came back after not playing football last year. And you look at Marcus and another guy, J.J. Flores, who are 2 of those state guys on the relay team that are coming back, are both going to be able to play out in spaces. Both look totally different, but both very quick and do a lot of dynamic things. And how much are you looking for? You know, I know you're smiling because you want Marcus to do well because you're dad, but you also want him to do well as coach. How much can you guys really kind of spread the ball this year and really kind of have some fun?
Well, I think it's the coach smiling more than the dad right now, having him back out. He was one of the guys that didn't play for us last year because he wanted to focus on track. And thankfully, he's decided to play again this year. But at 6'3", 190 pounds, and running, I think you saw the 4.40 that he popped, he's going to be a matchup problem. And then J.J. is actually quicker than Marcus. We'll use J.J. as a cover corner and as a running back and as a slot receiver, kind of move him all around. And, he provides a spark and a home run hitter that we haven't had before. And then you put both those guys back on kickoffs, and teams have a dilemma on who they're going to kick to.
The fastest redhead in the county.
Oh, yeah.
Bar none. No question about it. It's an exciting feeling, and I think you were hamstrung a little bit in the last couple of years in the way you needed to win games. Is that right? Where you sort of had to kind of be that plodding team where you had to hold on to the ball. You mentioned maybe a couple of depth issues, and just you got to play to your personnel. But do you have more options this year? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we certainly have more options. I think you mentioned the way we had to play. It was like playing baseball and just hitting singles.
Right.
We had a big offensive line that did a great job, but we really didn't have home run threats over there. This year, I think we've got a couple guys that can pop that. Plus, we have Connor Getman is returning a running back over there, and he's getting even better and bigger and stronger and faster. So gives us another guy that can pop him. Efren Morales will play some running back, and he's more of a bulldozer for short yardage situations. But we do have plenty of options. And then Greg is a fantastic runner that really we couldn't utilize because we couldn't get him hurt last year. Not that we ever want to get him hurt, but
you couldn't even take the chance.
Right.
Yeah.
let them go.
Defensively, you lose a guy like a Dom DeMarco, you lose a Tui, but that's sort of been Frontier's calling card, is to have that hard-nosed defense. And I know you got some kids coming back too.
Well, we do. Efren Morales is starting at Mike Backer, but he's the only one in the front seven we have returning.
Oh, wow.
So that's a definite area where we're going to have some younger guys really step up. I do know that we are much better in the secondary this year than we certainly were in the past, and so that will allow us to put extra guys in the box to be able to stop people's running game, and yet still have JJ on their top receiver if we go man coverage.
And obviously, when you look at the SWYL, it's the power league in the county. And do you feel like this is the year that maybe all 6 teams are as competitive as they can be since you've been in this league and since this league has been formed in its current state? Where I think on any given night, every team is going to battle each other equally, right?
Yeah, and I think other than Liberty, you saw some of that last year.
Yeah.
With a lot of really close games in the league. Liberty losing a D1 quarterback. Hopefully they don't have another D1 quarterback over there. But they've, maybe come down a little bit there. And everybody else is right in the thick of that dogfight. Garces has more speed probably than anybody in the league. Bakersfield High is extremely well coached. Stockdale is getting better every year over there. And then, Centennial's got Cole Beatty, who I think it might be the best player in town.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get into this. The SWL was known as the Power League since its existence, but it just seems like every year, for whatever reason or another, there's been 1 or 2 teams that haven't been as competitive. But last year, like you said, you saw the glimpse of that truly every week is a challenge sort of thing. And this year, it may be even more that way. And having said that, I think Liberty as defending D1 champion, Bakersfield with what they've been able to accomplish the last 5 years, and maybe Centennial people see as the upper echelon. But I'll tell you what, one thing about your program out there is that when people least expect it, you come up with these good teams. And I don't know, I sort of am getting that feeling, and I don't want you to necessarily predict anything, but do you feel like this could be a surprise team?
Well, I certainly feel like it can, and you never really know until the season gets rolling and if you can avoid injuries. But, 11 years ago we had a team at West High that nobody really thought too much of in the preseason, but we could tell.
They were good.
Yeah. and the kids had a little saying, they don't even know, and true enough, nobody knew how good they were.
The guy playing for the Eagles right now was a big part of that. Actually, he wasn't even the best player on that team, I don't think. Ryan
Well, he was pretty darn good.
He was good, but you had AJ on that team as well, AJ Jefferson.
AJ Jefferson played in the NFL for 4 years, and we had our quarterback got drafted by the Boston Red Sox, and obviously Ryan Princeton McCarty ended up as like the number 3 rusher all time at University of Idaho. Deron Mackey played at Boise State. So, there were some guys. Gary Sumlin went D1 off of that team. Yeah.
Very, very good team. And as usual, as we look at your schedule this year, you challenge yourself. You play Cabrillo out of Lompoc next week, your hometown of Lompoc, but not Lompoc High now.
Right. I tried to get Lompoc High, and I couldn't get them, so I got the next best thing at Cabrillo, and I need to get those guys. I still haven't forgiven them for beating me my junior year.
Oh, so this goes back now. All right. And then Paso Robles and Ridgeview, we know all about them. Central's going to have a very good team. You got to go up there, and that's huge. I know all of Kern County will be rooting for you in that one for seeding purposes in Division I. And Mission Oak, traditionally strong program. And then, boy, hey, league play, Liberty and Bakersfield. Hello. Liberty coming to your place, and then you get BHS out at BC this year. Fun schedule, but man, you better be ready to play.
You better be, and that's why we've got some really good teams in the preseason. We got the speed that Central presents, the power that Paso Robles presents. They got a running back over there that's 220 pounds, and I think ran for about 2,000 yards last year. So we got our work cut out for us.
Did you schedule it like that, knowing you had a team like this, maybe that could compete? I mean, or does that just sort of happen? I know you're scheduling 2 years in advance, so maybe you don't know. But
yeah, we picked up a lot of those teams about a year ago, and it's always nice to play on the Central Coast. I wanted to play either Lompoc or Cabrillo. That's just fun for me. My dad lives in Lompoc still, so and then Central's been a good game for us. Obviously, Ridgeview, we've had some wars with them. We had a great game with them last year, so
that was a fun game.
Yeah, we want to keep them on the schedule.
Opener.
You gave them Frontier, and keep in mind, didn't finish the season the way you wanted to. You gave Ridgeview the biggest test of anybody, all the way up through Narbonne, right? Yeah. Am I wrong in saying that?
Was that the game that Efren had 4 rushing touchdowns?
Yeah, we used that T formation and pounded him for 4 touchdowns. And, I think that showed our potential a little bit. We had Dalen Jackson healthy at that time, and really our season took a nosedive after Dalen got hurt.
And so, again, as I've said a couple times yesterday, if you stay healthy is sort of this, it's this buzz phrase that you could use with every single coach. Boy, you have to have that to have the dream season if you can stay healthy. But it sounds like you got some pretty good things going up there and that you're pretty comfortable. How cool is it for you now to maybe be the underdog? And you haven't been in that role a lot, but I think people see it like that. And maybe this ties into being the surprise team, but you have that chip on your shoulder out there too.
Yeah, it's preseason press doesn't really matter a whole lot. We'd like to get it to the point, though, where our program has garnered the respect that maybe we're not the underdog every year. We'd like to get it to where that team that's expected to win 8 or 9 games, and build the program back up to that level. We got off to a great start at the school, but we've kind of, lost that the last 3 years when I feel like Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that, Zach, you and I have talked, over the last 2 years since I've been here, 2 of the big programs that haven't been where they were previously was you guys and Garces. And, Zach has to remind me, he's like, no, these guys were the premier team for a long time. And, now I think that, I'm hoping that, maybe you guys are going to show me that not that the teams have been bad by any stretch. And I think, Rich, you and I talked about it. It's kind of an exciting time to see that, maybe that, you guys do kind of knock off that underdog role. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens this year. I'm really excited about it.
Well, 5-5 last year in the regular season, and you brought it up, so I'll say it. Jeff Fisher's been 8-8 the Rams for 19 straight years or whatever it is, and maybe this is the year they get off that schneid, maybe it's the year you get off that schneid. But I think anyway, Frontier should be very competitive in what's against a very difficult schedule where anything better than 5-5 means you're doing work. You're a pretty good team. So, Rich, thanks for joining us, and best of luck this year.
My pleasure. Thank you for
having
having me.
Frontier's Rich Cornford, and we will be back on the Super Show right after this.